All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the press coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN Television. And now we've been joined by an in-house analyst. His name is Samuel Ogunleke, and together we shall be taking a look at some of the headlines we read out to you earlier. And this is also a reminder that our phone lines are open for you to call and join the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on the program, Samuel. How are you doing this morning?
Fine, yeah.
I'm very well, thank you. All right, now let's get into what we have on our national day list today. And I'll begin with this headline from The Nation. It says, senior advocates of Nigeria are saying, pull under threat by returning officers' power. And that it says, Onipekun raises concern over Section 65 of Electoral Act. Onipekun raises concern over Section 65 of Electoral Act. Now, details of that Section 65 says, the decision of the returning officer shall be final on any question arising from or relating to unmarked ballot paper, rejected ballot paper, and declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate. Let me go for that, provided that the commission shall have the power to, within 7 days, to review the declaration and return where the commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or was made contrary to the provision of the law, regulations, and guidelines and manual of the election. 2. A decision of the returning officer under subsection 1 may be reviewed by an election tribunal or court of competent jurisdiction in an election petition proceedings under this act. So what we're paying attention to is the section 1 of the section 65, the subsection 1 of section 65. What are your thoughts on this? Are you also of the same opinion with Olakpe?
The question we should ask is, those people that are actually enacting or actually writing our constitution, what has been their take when it comes to politics of Nigeria? Do they even know what exactly constitution is all about? Do they even know the importance or what exactly these writings will actually bring about? Because for you to have actually empowered a particular returning officer of INEC to have a decision on its own or her own is something ambiguous to me, because this is Nigeria compared to other Western countries that every sector, every agencies are actually independent. But we know very sure that federal government appoints who is to be INEC chairman, and you cannot actually appoint somebody you don't trust, that you cannot vouch for. Like, we have deals before you could actually do that. And this same person that you appointed will be the one that will be appointing other people. Talk about the officers of the INEC. Now, to me, it is going to be a bias. That section is actually a biased section of one of our of the constitution, because believe me sincerely, most of our returning officers of the INEC are politicians. Most of them. I could actually cite an example in Ondo State. I have one of my brothers that is actually a returning. I say brother, not we are not family anyway, but area brother like that is actually a returning officer of INEC, and this person is actually carrying a particular candidate. This same person will be posting a particular candidate, and in that jurisdiction is what is going to preside over. So tell me how is not going to be biased. Tell me how is not going to make decision that will actually favor his candidate. So in this case, I don't think this constitution should actually come up this way, because ordinarily we know very sure that we have court of law, we have tribunal. Why should you empower? What if at the end of the day a returning officer of the INEC actually have enough evidence, part of evidence to back his statement? So, and you just leave it like that, which is not actually exactly what happened in that election. So I believe very sure that this this subsection rather is somehow ambiguous, and at the same time it's not good for a democracy and for the barristers to be talking. All I know is before this time, when the constitution was to be amended, you were there. You guys were there. That means the person that was in charge of reading through the constitution, those people that was in the committee that was in charge of reading through the constitution, were lazy. They didn't do their job, so it is not now.
Or maybe they did their job and found nothing wrong with that.
But now the same set is actually bringing, the same organization is actually bringing up forth from that same section. So all I know is, even if at all there was an error from the part of the National Assembly, there shouldn't be, the same error should not be committed by the Nigerian Bar Association of Nigeria. Not talk of, now enacting the the president's signature and everything, and you are not bringing up issues. So to me, though it is, that section is actually faulty, but at the same time, there is fault in the hands of the Nigerian Bar Association, especially the committee that actually perused the constitution before it was signed into law. So we shouldn't blame the National Assembly much, because they are going to do anything that will favor them. Politicians will argue, and even if you are doing a business, you are going to do that. But at the same time, we need to fault the Nigerian Bar Association for not perusing well the constitution before they send it back to the National Assembly, or before they actually give their words to the constitution before it was signed into law. And another thing I actually want Nigerians to know is that since this is there, everybody will be looking for a loophole to cover whatever shame or whatever atrocity he or she had committed. So we should not leave any loopholes to give returning officers of the INEC power to determine what happens in our polling unit or in our jurisdiction. Because if we do that, and the only way to do that is to be peaceful, one. Number two, you vote according to your power. What I mean by that is, vote the right person from your mind, and after voting, make sure you monitor your vote. But
then that there's a limit to what you can monitor.
We have observers there. We have observers there, and we have agents there. So if agents are elite or learning person, he or she will know exactly what are the responsibility of every agent in a polling unit. So as an agent, I am believing, I did it before. So while I was in while we were in school, and at the same time after our school, during our union days, so we did all those things. And before you do that, you will have read. We read so that we will be able to monitor to the end the activities of that election. So if anybody that is going to be your agent, I'm actually appealing to the political parties that anybody that is going to, don't just pick a non-entity, don't just pick anybody just because okay, this person is my party member, or this person has been in party for the past 10 years, so he has to gain something or benefit something. No. Just make sure you pick somebody that is learned, that knows exactly what are the responsibility of agents in polling units. And by that, I believe, and I'm very sure that those ones will actually fight to the core and will monitor, not for you to monitor counting alone. That was a scenario where I was actually a union officer, that the returning officer was actually gave me a particular ballot paper. I checked the ballot paper, and you were telling me the ballot paper is, as in the vote is void. I said, how? I said, this vote is void, and it was actually showing me that you can see that the thumb was outside the. And I said, did this touch another party's box, or did this actually? No. And he said, hey, this is my job. I said, no, this is not your job. Let's read the constitution. There.
Let's take this call. We'll continue our conversation. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us at the press. Hi, good morning. Thank Thank you so much for joining us on the press. Could you please turn on the volume of your TV set?
It's calling from multiple State.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Please, I want to ask our analyst, can we get our election right? That is one question for him. And why I happen to ask this question is this. There are more or less so many atrocities committed by every ruling party. And at the end of the election, nothing was done about it. Let me take you back now to 2019. The election in Kogi State, everybody happens to see it. The election became a battleground whereby the helicopter was on the air shooting and killing, wounding. So many people died, so many people were wounded. The coverage was there. And not even our law enforcement agencies, nothing came out of it. As we are talking now somebody was like talking in one of the headlines. I happen to see that they zone this presidency, the presidency to the south. Now we have south, we have southwest, and we have southeast. Like in Benue State, since the creation of Benue State, no Idoma indigenous from Zone C has ever been a governor. And we are there for it. Not that the population they are talking of, they have more population than us. No. There is marginalization. But if one wants to do everything right, more especially happens to see that in Nigeria, we even need to practice democracy. Because what democracy really means, the explanation and the definition of democracy is not done in Nigeria. So I want that question I have to give you, I want to know whether the ruling party, they have a kind of power that they are not entitled to whatsoever they committed, or is because of they use their power just to manipulate certain things and nothing will come out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Well, let me actually answer that question. We can actually get it right in Nigeria, but the facts still remain that as for this 2023 election, I am not cursing and I am not saying this is a fact, but we can't get it right.
This particular one.
This particular one. Why? Youths now are just waking up, and the kind of awake that we have now is just a kind of I know my right to get my PVC to vote, but we've not gotten to a stage of sealing our minds, our hearts to vote right. Many of us don't know that when we talk about ruling party, they have enough power, because this is politics. Don't let us actually pretend that we don't. They have some powers that, okay, fine. If there is a particular issue, they could actually use veto power because they are in power. But the facts still remain that before I actually go there, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and my friend was actually telling me that I have my PVC. I said, fine, why are you voting for? He said, I'm going to vote for so person. So I came in from and okay, fine. I'm a member of a particular party, and I now come with 40,000 naira for you to vote for this candidate. I mentioned the candidate. He said, 40. I'll change my mind. You see, and the only way in which ruling party could actually try to maneuver some things and try to mix some things is when the gap, the numbers are not that much. So the margin is not that much. So they could actually find their way out. But in a situation whereby you vote right, it is ourselves. It is from ourselves. And I want to let everybody know that the reason why we cannot get it right now is, number one, I am a journalist. You are a journalist. I'll be here on that same election day. I won't be able to go to my village to vote. You will not be able to go to your village to vote. What about our senators? I want a particular senator to emerge. But I am not going to be present there. So not until I know very sure that by after this 20, we actually came about beavers now. By that 2027, I know very sure that many of us will have been agitating for a particular voter's card that will allow us to vote anywhere, to vote our candidate, as senators, our representatives, our councillors, our chairman, anywhere we are. The only thing is just for us to, okay, this is the person I want to vote for, and it will just come. Okay, which local government? Immediately your card is being slot in, it will show your local government. So everything that has to do with your local government is what you're going to vote for, unless you decide that, okay, fine, this is where I'm going to vote. Are you getting it? And you will not be able to vote twice because the machine will not accept it. So for now, I think every mind is set towards APC as packed all our money and we must collect the money back. So whatever the case, now everybody's mind has been sealed that forget about it. I'm going to collect my share, even if I thought I'm not going to vote for them. But are they fools? Somebody that will give you 20,000 naira, will the person not have a way of monitoring you to the polling booth? No, the person will have put a lot of things in place before doing that. That's what we don't know. And most of another thing about the Benue that you are talking about, when we are talking about being marginalized, we should be explaining some certain points. Like, number one thing is, how are your people? Are they in support of the candidate that is coming out from your region? Number one. Number two, what has been the contribution of that region when it comes to politics? You cannot be showing nonchalant attitude to politics and expect to rule.
Okay.
And at the same time, even if I thought they are doing that, are you sure that this same set of people are not the one sabotaging the efforts of that region to become an elected candidate?
A lot goes on into politics that you don't even know. Because he made mention of the fact that I think we also saw that report where the NYSC is saying the Buhari successor will be from the south. From the south, yeah. But then he also reminded us that we have south, southeast, and southwest. And now, if it goes to the southeast, what happens to other parts of the south? Everybody claims that they have been marginalized. Yes, we're talking about the south, but there are other regions too. That is why he made mention of the
issue is we should not be segregating, or we should not be actually concerned most about our people. We should be concerned about Nigeria, and that is what is actually killing us now. Like myself now, you don't expect me to vote for any candidate, whether it's from my village or from my family. That happened in Ibarapa Central Local Government. I remember one of my brother and another brother from the same family were contesting. So it's now fine, different party, but from the same family. What will you now do? That means you're going to vote for the person you think can do it better. But we have a lot of people that will say, this is the person I'm for, this person I'm for. Not because they know that the person could actually do it better, but because they have preference. So when it comes to politics, people have preference, and preference is what is actually killing us. Preference in terms of, no, it's my brother. It's from our side. It's from my state. It's from my region. When we talk about South, the zone presidency to South, it's not constitutional. That's my brother, that caller actually mentioned it. Zoning is not constitutional. It is just conventional, and anything that is conventional could be changed, and that is why PDP changed theirs, because it is conventional. If it is constitutional, nobody will have the gut or the right to actually change it. So if you know very sure that you don't want your state or your region to be marginalized, let us play our politics where people that are at the top from that region are actually the one marginalizing the region. Okay, like South now. Who is marginalizing the South? People will be talking about not. No, it's not. It's not even. They are not even the one. We are the one marginalizing ourselves.
Like yesterday, the guest we had on the program made mention of. He said he was speaking to somebody, and somebody said that Buhari built the second Niger bridge for the south, so he favors the south more than the north. And then the north, the southern people will be complaining that they've been marginalized, and the north are being. But then, do you ever think that we should get to a point, because you made mention of the fact that we should forget about religion and focus on being Nigerians? Because I believe that with that mindset of the forced marriage of the northern and southern Nigeria, I don't think we'll ever get to that point, or I don't see it coming, like from where I'm sitting right now. So do you think we'll ever get to the point where we have the Nigerian mindset, not saying I'm Igbo and you're Yoruba, or I'm from the north and you're from the south? Because aside the fact that we talk about ethnic groups, Nigerians have also come up with the mindset of religion. So even if we've sorted out the issue of ethnicity, religion is on the other side. So do you think that it will ever get to a point where we're talking about Nigeria?
Do you know that the first problem of Nigeria is that religion that you're talking about? It's not even ethnicity. Religion problem actually brought ethnicity problem, in which some part of the country, a part of the country believe we are Muslim. Any Christian in this side is actually doing something against us. Now, another part believes that we are Christian here. Why a part actually believe that we are Christian, we are Muslim. Meanwhile, we were first Nigerians before religion actually came. And what has been our religion before now? We have our own traditional religion, but we forfeit that, okay, this thing is this thing our forefathers were doing, our idols and all those things. But we've forgotten that most of the technologies that we're having are actually brought up from these same points that we've neglected. And the fact is, unless we solve the issue of religion, which we can't solve, unless we solve that is the only point, or that is only at that stage that we'll be able to see Nigerians as Nigerians, and not that I am from a particular part or a particular set. Okay, let me chip in this. Do you know that Hausas are complaining that Fulanis have been dominating? That Hausas have not been able to produce presidents. Imagine. From the same north, that south will be saying it is Hausa, so it is. And do you know that from the same north, a particular sect, I think, was telling me something, was not last week, that there is nothing they can do. We have to leave. I was like, are you not from the north? No, it's just like we Nigerians, especially youth. We've allowed those cabals to impose something that is not good on us, and at the same time they have sold something not worthwhile to us, and we actually accepted it, we bought it, and we are practically practicing it. And that was why I used to mention this Nigerian Youth Congress. I used to mention Nigerian Youth Parliament. We talk about another thing is, it's not that we cannot even solve the issue of a religion, but the fact is, the number of people that are waiting to steal Nigeria, to loot Nigeria,
to have their own share of the cake,
of the cake, is actually way higher than the number of the people
that wanted to get better.
And at the same time, people that are there now that you think they are not doing it right, people that are coming are worst, because their foresight, their set goals are being on. Let me get there, take my share, and that is how we have problem. People that are now in National Youth, Nigerian Youth Congress and Nigerian Youth Parliament, what have they been doing? Since they get there, everybody is just going from one office to another. From one office to another, they get their share and they go back to their village to become.
Also be trying to do things right to solve.
How would they do anything right when youth that want to have a take is being elected by the governor of the state? What are you saying? Okay, fine. I want to come and represent youth. It is now that the old ones that we rejected that will now choose who to represent the youth. What are we saying now? If you are not from me, if you are not mine, will I choose you? And if the government did not choose, forget about it. They have the power. So what we are now saying is, the problem is we don't have independent power. We are not independent. Youth are still depending on the oaths, on the elder ones, and that is why we'll continue having this problem. Not until every one of us, like myself, I don't know any other person, I cannot talk for any other person, like myself, you cannot buy me. A senator said, I think one of us were there. I went to an honorable's house to actually invite the person to on our program, and the person was like, "How much am I going to pay?" I said, "You are not paying anything. I'm inviting you." He said, as in, the lady that followed me was actually amazed the way the man reacted. Said, "Imagine you told someone, you actually informed someone that you are not. What will you pay?" He said, "What?"
So now this takes us back to Mr. Collins' first question.
Okay.
Can we get it right in Nigeria?
We can get it right in Nigeria.
At what point?
But not now. Not now. We can get it. Let us add that. I have that mind that we are going to get it right. But not now. If we don't get it right 2027, forget about it, Nigeria will break up.
2027 is a long time from now.
You think so? But I'm just telling you.
No, I'm okay. Because of everything that you've said, I've seen a lot of issues in those forthcoming elections, taking into consideration the returning officer issue, which we just discussed, and how you made some point of how, if care is not taken, that could also go south. Then also the mindset of Nigerians with the vote buying and uncertainty. You don't even know who you want to vote for because you want somewhere where it favors you, at least where you can get a piece of the cake.
Okay, I was even asking a woman, we were discussing, a woman in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. The woman was actually asking us, do we have more than 2 candidates? I said, huh? Imagine. That's sensitization.
Okay, now who do we now blame for that? The lack of sensitization, who do we blame for that? Because we know, maybe because me and you, we are both learned, our awake, we see what's going on. We know that lots of political parties will have presidential candidates for this 2023 general elections. But then, I'm also aware that lots of people, when you ask them, they know of only 2 parties because that is what they've heard all their lives. So, now, you made mention of sensitization. Who do we hold responsible for that? Because
we are not. It is other political parties anyway. Because we
have a caller. Let's take this call. We'll continue our conversation. Hello, Mr. Collins.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Steve Collins.
Welcome back.
Thank you. There is one thing I want us to, at least as a youth, to come together and agitate for now. Like the last 2019 election, I see no reason why a particular party will have the same kind of logo with an opposition party. Now, if you look at this 2023 election now, the Labour Party's logo is red, either red, green, and white, something of that nature. And I'm still seeing another party having the same kind of logo. It was not differentiated. It's not right. We know you, just like you are saying just now. The older generation are much, and they are very eager to vote. And when it comes to the polling unit, I'm an agent. Since 2007, I've become an agent.
Okay.
And up to date, I'm still an agent.
That's good.
And they doesn't give us room to address all these old men and old women to differentiate who they want to vote for. Because they might have the name of that person, but the logo of the party are the same. But we being the agent of either one of the party, they don't give us time or give us chance to explain it to them. Even while they were calling the name of the candidate they want to vote for. So I was like trying to make it open to us now. If it were possible, because this one is already done.
Okay.
Like the Labour Party party is having the same logo with is it BCP or something of that nature. Now it has gone back, but come 2023, just like you are saying just now, you cannot ready to be patient in there, no, but I pray let there be peace.
Amen.
That differentiation should be done. At least any party having a particular logo, let no other party. If there must be a difference, something different must be added to it. Let us not have the same kind of logo on 2 or 3 parties
Same color.
equal election. Please.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your contributions.
That's actually wonderful.
You just drew my attention to something, and I quickly had to go and check that out. And I realized that for some reasons, a lot of the political parties have one red, white, green. Red, white, green. And I'm wondering, what exactly is the problem? Is there something about red, white, and green that we don't know about? Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Please turn down the volume of your TV set. Oh, we lost that call. It was PDP, APC with red, white, and green. Almost all of the political parties are
and that is
same colors. And
this is a problem that we actually need to address. People need sincerely imagine. Okay, except I think that of SDP also has green. Yeah. So what exactly is happening? Okay, I was actually talking about sensitization. Most of the parties, let me refer to them as less known parties have the issue of sensitization. You go online. How many people are online? We elites are online.
Please hold your thoughts. Let's speak to our viewer. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
What doesn't come to program there? What's happened?
You said?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All the root, where is root?
She's unavailable at the moment.
Okay. I'm calling directly from the local government of the part I told Nason here.
Okay.
In the order of Benin State.
All right. Please go ahead and make your
So,
contribution.
my own contribution to this is so brief. In the youth of Nigeria, half of them they don't have focus. Because they need to follow the big part that they need to distribute money. Because when you know that this is not right, okay, see how I'm suffering for people now. In a point in Mondo State, I buy a state for a liter 300 350 and liter in Mondo State here. Mondo State. But see, there are other places in Benin State, I'm going to buy a liter of petrol 600 per liter. And we are the same country. And the thing, the caliber of the people that you destroy this country, people are still following them. And we are suffering. I am just pleading to the youth of Nigeria, please let them have focus. And let's forget this big party. Let us try to come up with what it can come. Whether it can go, let us try just to fight for what it can come. Because all these people, they are already blood Nigerian money. They don't care whether poor man are suffering or poor man is in this country again. Thank you this morning, Mr. Paul from Benefit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for joining us on the program.
Okay, bye.
Just drew no, but then the question, the major point here is sensitization. But then elections are less than 40 days away from now.
We can actually do something. Do you know that we might not get it right now, but that sensitization will actually help in the next election. I do mention next election because I know very sure that we never knew that we could actually get to this stage that every youth in every household will want to get their PVC.
Yeah.
But now we had that, fine. Another thing that we need is to build the minds. Now all of us are actually clamoring for, let's go for the less known parties or whatsoever, the smaller parties. Yes, but ask, most of these smaller parties that you are talking about, who are there? Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about ACN. Do you know that ACN still exists? Let's talk about YPP. Let's talk about PRP. Let's talk about
Both party.
You see, All these ones are still existing, but it is just you and I that knows that. Mama's in the village, daddy's in the village, none of them knows about this. They could actually, I think some of them will be hearing about, could be hearing for the first time about SDP and Labour Party. Though they knew those parties before, but since the ruling of the PDP and APC, other parties have actually gone into extinction in their minds and in their hearts. So we need more sensitization so that we will be able to create that in their mind that okay, we have more than 20 parties that are actually we have over 18, as we have 18 parties that are actually contesting for the post of presidency, and at the same time we have other parties in other states also. Now another thing is this: youths. Nobody should tell you that the system we are running now in this country cannot help youth. Why? Because not until the oaths dictate for you, youth, you cannot proceed. In such situation, we continue to radiate, to continue to gallivanting and roaming about on in a particular point. We will not be able to have a headway. So the only thing I think we could actually do is when the love of money, the love of money is not. No, the love of money is the root of all evil. And somebody, my friend will tell me, please give me that root of evil.
No, but that's what everybody says. They want to get the root of evil because
they want to get the root of evil. But it's fascinating that I think until we get to the stage, we have the mindset of the whites of the Western world that they work not for money, but for the record, and the record brings them money.
All right, with that, we'll draw the curtain today on the press, reaching you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN Television. That was our conversation with Samuel Onyeleke, and with that, I say see you tomorrow. Bye for now.